Welcome. Coming up on today's program, 6 tips and tactics to beat inflation. You're watching What's Next with Money, a program with smart insights to guide your financial decisions. Let's get started. Today I'm sharing 6 tips and tactics to beat inflation, actionable tactics you can use. And folks, these are born from having a front row seat to some past and recent inflationary periods. I lived through the last 2 big inflation cycles as a student and as a very young adult. I saw parents, neighbors, and older friends cope, strategize, act, and learn, while at the same time, governments, in particular the Federal Reserve, try to wrestle with high inflation and kill it. These folks all faced rising gas, food, housing, auto, commodity prices. Many wages and salaries did rise, but often really never fast enough to keep up or even. Now, we can learn from some recent inflationary areas of the economy. And consider this, despite the high inflation we have right now, Americans experience this last long low inflation environment. There are 2 areas that were inflationary with annual price hikes above the reported average inflation rate. So we've got some inflation experience under our belt and we can learn from it. And those 2 areas are higher ed and healthcare. Now, what can we learn from these? What actions might one take to mitigate and not even participate in the price hikes or do things that would lower the overall cost of the item or service? Let's take higher education first. So what are we seeing here? What are lower cost alternatives to higher ed? And because sometimes costs get so high, the market and people react. They realize some of this is not affordable. Plus, there's the growing awareness and burden of student loans. So the market responds and new alternatives are created designed to meet other goals like helping employers retaining and growing talent and retaining worker, which is their human capital. Now, one strategy is you could bypass it altogether. People take basic classes at low-cost community colleges. They do concurrent enrollment in college while in high school. They test out for credit. I did a few of these and got through my expensive undergrad university in 3 years. I did go in with a semester of credits and then did summer school to grab the rest, and I got out a bit early. Now, you could have, as a big alternative, let's have somebody else pay for it. And this is a growing area. Not only are there scholarships, but employers, workplaces are paying more for higher ed, helping the workers out. You can work and get a higher ed benefit at your job or perhaps through public service like the military. Even Starbucks and the Walt Disney Company have programs through the University of Arizona or a great outfit based in Denver called Guild Education, where an employee can amass college credits and complete a degree for low or little cost. You could not even buy into needing it. You can move toward a certification, an apprenticeship, and the marketplace right now, in many jobs, they're not requiring 4-year degrees. There's the issue of delayed entry. You could do a gap year, a service year, Peace Corps, Teach for America, AmeriCorps, military service, including the National Guard. And in some of these cases, they will help with student loan payback assistance. They will offer credits for higher ed. And this might be a great route to follow. Now we're talking about 6 tips and tactics to beat inflation. Let's leave higher ed for a minute and jump over to healthcare. What have we learned from this? This is an area that's seen a lot of inflation. But many of us, because of employer-provided health insurance, we don't necessarily shop for health care or pay bills directly. But for some of us, we are in a healthcare marketplace because we have high deductible insurance plans and managed care. So some ways folks have driven down the cost of health care. Here are a few examples. Better nutrition, exercise, and in some cases, you are incentivized to do this through your health insurance plan. Online advice, telemedicine, we've seen a lot of that in the pandemic. Free clinics, catastrophic insurance, health savings accounts, and we have a video on that. not smoking, immunizations, vaccinations, safety practices, and gear for those in high risk like certain winter sports, biking, or boating. Of course, getting a job with health benefits and preventative coverage helps the bottom line for everyone. Now, I'm not going to kid you, and some of you know this from my other What's Next with Money videos. High oil and energy prices permeate so much of our economy. Gas, transportation, airfares, plastics, fertilizer, food, diesel, and other fuels critical for the supply chain. Of course, wars, embargoes, volatile markets, and general economic uncertainty doesn't help. These drivers of inflation that we're all experiencing are widespread, but there is some hope. Now, we just saw 2 inflation workaround examples with higher education and healthcare. Let's now drill down. Let's look at those 6 tips and tactics to beat inflation. Number 1, avoidance. Try to explore what you can do to avoid buying at these prices. If you have an RV, trailer, or kind of specialized tool, are there alternatives to obtaining those? Here's some tactics for inflation avoidance. Can you rent the item? Can you buy used? Can you share it informally with family, relatives, neighbors, maybe a faith-based relationship, a social or veterans club? Could you borrow the item from a private or nonprofit source, pay a modest rent, and perhaps perform a repair or maintenance service on it? Number 2, alternatives. What is an activity, service, or purchase that does not have the higher price or demand that pushes the price up on the thing you really want? Is there an alternative to that? Instead of flying vacations, driving vacations. Tactics for inflation alternatives can include switch the time frame, do this activity or this trip every other year instead of every year. Maybe for one of those years, there's a sharing element with family, pooling money for shared ownership. Now, you could actually do this with a formal agreement where family members go to buy an asset, a rental house, vacation house, RV, but be careful with family and friends. This could be sensitive. You do not want to force others into something their personal finances might not handle well or want disclosed. Money is very private for folks, and you don't want that to ruin a relationship. Consider then the sharing economy as even a source of revenue like Airbnb, Outdoorsy, the firm that helps with RVs and trailers. If you own property or one of those RVs, could you move that out into the sharing economy and receive revenue for that? Could you rent, if you don't have those, in the off season? Could you focus on acquiring the service or the item locally or regionally, or the experience, rather than nationally or internationally? We're talking about 6 tips and tactics to beat inflation. Number 3, non-participation. Like, I just ain't going to do this. These are tactics for inflation non-participation. Like, I need to switch diets for health reasons. I need to give up or cut back certain elements of dining, delivery, or grocery habits for the new you, the new me that my doctor has been advising me to become through nutrition and exercises. Is there an activity you might cut back? I'm a snowboarder, but I've cut that back because my snowboarding partner has basically retired. So I need to find a new partner to go with. So I've actually trimmed back my buying of lift tickets. Is there a sport or activity that maybe time or circumstance is signaling to you, this is something to cut back and save money and do an alternative? Like shooting sports or maybe racing, razors or ATVs. This could be because of age, your kids have moved away, location, there's less interest, your skills and physical health are not what they used to be. And for like an RV, boat, even an extra car, there are fees, transportation expenses, secure storage, insurance, licensing, permits, maybe a special tow vehicle. Could you sell that item or gift it within the family? A good way is to calculate the days you're actually using some of these things and what is that costing you in these other maintenance expenses. Number 4, delay. I tell my friends so many times in management and other settings, delay is not denial. Here's some tactics for inflation delay. Can I wait on this purchase or experience? Are the inflationary trends I'm sensing or seeing transitory or temporary? Will technology improve and actually force the cost to drop? I probably don't want to be an early adopter at this time. I'll let an industry standard emerge with cost dropping and even enhanced features being added, and of course more price competition. Will waiting cause me to reconsider and weigh the full cost of the items or experience? While delaying or experiencing this delay time, do I have a substitute in mind? How can I occupy my delay time? Now, time voids are tough because you may want to spend during that time. They can cause unplanned expenses, but they really could work to your advantage under a delay tactic. You could learn skills related to the activity you want to do. You could work on your relationships. You could take a course or some kind of specialized training. In recessions, many people went back to school. They got new skills. They went through training while they were experiencing a delay. Now, can I learn more about the potential purchase or service during the delay period? For example, I've always wanted to learn to fly, but I'm colorblind and I'm probably not going to do it. But you know what I could do? There's several online and free classes I could take. I could tap into a flight simulator in the metaverse. Recently, I have a canoe and I'm a paddle boarder, but I took an online boating safety course that applies literally to all states, and I learned more about boating. And I'm now prepared at some point to rent a boat and try it out using those safety techniques, those operational ideas I picked up. And I probably do that, but I don't have to buy one. But it was a good use of my time while I'm waiting. So if you're getting value from this video, please, we ask you to hit that subscribe and the like button. This moves our content to more folks, and it's all free. We're talking about 6 tips and tactics to beat inflation. Here's number 5. Wait out this crazy market. Now, this concept of waiting out a crazy market is in itself a form of delay. But you should ask yourself, what has happened in history with pricing and demand for an item or service? Will a recession lower the price, or will inflation continue? There's a great concept in personal finance and investing called revision to the mean. And all this is, it's the idea that historical returns and trends with numbers in the economy or investing returns, but it could apply perhaps to inflation, eventually will revert to their long-run average or mean. Are high prices regional, national, or will international trade pressures or sourcing, like supply chain issues or technology, change this? You're going to ask yourself, is this time an aberration? And now number 6, use what you have. Hey, this is the time to maintain what you have, your car, your home, appliances. If you're considering upgrades, can some of those upgrades to your house or your vehicle provide extra longevity, save money like adding insulation or redoing HVAC systems? What about your own income capability, your income generating human capital capability of new job skills? That's a form of upgrading while you're waiting and waiting out this crazy market. Can you repurpose something you have, some asset? For example, can you take a backyard shed or space and create an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit? Does your zoning allow that? Could you actually rent the space out as storage, or could somebody occupy that? Like a boarder, in essence, renting a little spot in your backyard. And it could even be a space for a side gig or business. Now here's an idea. Can you reimagine that thing you want to do? Can you change a hobby or an activity into a small business? Perhaps even reinvent your work patterns to open new opportunities, to create new income, to explore new areas. This could even include technically joining the sharing economy, using new website apps to bring in new revenue, cutting the cost of ownership, and there's always the idea of selling the item. Again, using what you have, but maybe there's something you don't want to keep, like how's that timeshare going? You want to track pricing demand and lower the overall cost through the sale. You can always gift it. You can receive a charitable deduction. We recommend through our tax video, bunching deductions in 1 year if you can, and then itemize. It's very helpful. But you could also gift it not just to a charity, but you could turn it over to a family member, and they'll pick up the maintenance costs, and that can free up for you storage, space you might be paying for, taxes, maintenance, etc. And you may still have access to that item through that family member. So it's like, again, like kind of giving it back, giving it up. And back on the timeshare issue, I've owned a few, sold one, given one back to the company. I still have one other one that I actually use. But an alternative now is something like redweek.com that can help you sell or even rent somebody else's timeshare. So there you have it. 6 tips and tactics to beat inflation. Let us know what you think. And be sure to hit that subscribe and like button, and don't forget to share. And remember, new episodes of What's Next with Money are posted on Thursdays.